All right, good. All right, we're going to call meeting to order. We're going to do a roll call vote because we have one member remote, so we'll just start down at the end. Lee?
Lee McCoy here.
Perfect.
Ben Gluza here.
Rosie Kennedy here.
Tom, go ahead.
Tom Myers here.
And William Olson here. All right, so first thing on the agenda is obviously we had our last event was election, so we welcome Lee to the board. So congratulations on a good race, and appreciate you volunteering, and we're looking forward to having you on the board. So we start with nominating new positions for the board. So out of the 5 people on the board, there are 3 positions. There's the chair, there's the vice chair, and there's the clerk. And so typically what would happen is I think we would start with the chair and work our way down. So, basically we can either have a discussion, somebody can nominate, we can have a discussion, but I will wait for somebody to start a discussion or make a nomination.
I nominate Bill Olson as our repeat chair.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
I think you did a great job last year, Bill, and I'm happy to endorse you again.
Yeah, I'd echo what Rosie said. I think, navigated some very challenging waters like over the course of the year, and it was clear kind of just like through your leadership over the course of the year as well. Things, continued to stabilize while still having kind of rigorous debate following good process. And I really appreciated your style of leadership over the course of the year. So I'm very happy to second your nomination.
Thank you. Tom, anything on your end?
Yeah, I'll just add, I support that 100%. Appreciate you stepping up to serve as chair again. Really appreciate the way you run meetings. It's efficient. Give everyone an opportunity to speak and really make sure that, we're moving the agenda forward. So I think you do a great job at it, and happy to support your nomination for chair.
Lee?
Sounds like you have a lot of support here. That's a good sign, definitely.
No, yeah, I'm honored to be nominated again. I mean, like I said, I consider us all equals on the board, so I think we all work really well together. So my goal over the next year is just continue to work well together. I think we've done a lot of things with unanimous consent on items, so I look forward to sort of bringing us all together and working together as collaborators on this next year. So I accept the nomination. I think we can move to a vote. We'll do a roll call vote, and we'll start in the same order for the rest of the meeting. So we'll start with Lee.
Okay. Lee McCoy, aye.
Ben Gluza, aye.
Rosie Kennedy, aye.
Tom Myers, aye.
What do I?
Vote
You can vote or.
William Olson, aye. So, all right, thank you. Now we go to vice chair. I had made a recommendation to individual board members about supporting some individual candidates, and I know I just want to have a quick session. I supported Rosie on this position because of the hard work she's done over last year. I know it's a tough position because I know that there's a lot of people who worked really hard, and it's important because when I'm not here and I'm not available, which isn't that often, we need someone to guide the ship. So I know we're going to have some different opinions here, so I'll have a little discussion. But I think at the end of the day, we're all going to be happy with the board and work together as a board. But I just want to make clear that I had supported Rosie for this position, but I'm not sure if we're going to have full support, so I look for other comments on that.
Thank you, Bill.
I've arrived here today with the intent to nominate Tom Myers for the position. I think that he's shown a lot of growth and leadership as well. He's had a very steady hand. He's shown a very adept ability to take in a lot of information and multiple points of view, as well as to then ground us back in a place where, we're discussing the facts and kind of like bringing a very well-rounded, formed opinion. So he's been really great at kind of summarizing these large, complex issues. And I think that looking at how the town has been recently voting on some key issues at the range of special town meetings and then followed by the annual meeting and the elections, I think he's very aligned to the direction of travel from constituents and what they're looking for in this newly elected board. So that was kind of my intention
Okay.
here today.
Tom, I'll let you go next.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Ben, and thank you. And, I'd be happy to accept the nomination if that's, was the will of the board. As far as any other candidates, I know for your recommendation, I know you had supported as Rosie as vice chair. I've worked with Rosie a lot. She puts a lot of hard work into this board. She is very willing to listen to constituents and put her efforts in. And, I think she has great opinions. I think she, is willing to challenge others on their opinions. So I think she's done a great job in the position that she's been in the select board. My only, hesitancy around a leadership role around Rosie is that sometimes I think when we're on this, topics that are controversial or there's mixed opinions on, I think that we have to make sure that as leaders we're giving all of the factual information and not misrepresenting or anything. And I think there's been situations where that has happened, and we've gotten feedback from the public around that. So I just think that from my view as a leadership role on the board, I think we have to be coming forward with straightforward factual bases and not sort of misleading in any way. So I think that would be my only hesitancy on that front.
Shall I respond?
Yeah, I mean, you could speak. Yes, go ahead.
So when I present a view, I present it with well-researched data, and I'm sorry that you feel that I don't do that. So you're entitled to your opinion, and I respect it. I perhaps feel differently, and I've always respected my fellow colleagues on the board, and I've always accepted what the board has decided. Just because I don't always agree with a particular view doesn't mean I don't accept it. And I think throughout the past year, I have shown that I do accept board views. And so I think that I have done yeoman's work on this board for the past 2 years. I enjoy working for the town, for the board. I'm always the first one to step up and take on the hard projects, and I would very much be willing to consider doing that no matter which role I am ultimately delegated.
Okay, I just actually a couple of questions, not knowing the answers. Rosie, how long have you been on the select board?
So this time 2 years, and prior to that 3 years. And I've taken on some pretty big projects. The Gordon Conwell project, which was a very tough negotiation in the end. It came out that everybody was very happy with the resolution, and town meeting was like, holy mackerel, I think I attended from the hospital, and I was thrilled that we were able to come together. But it didn't come without earnest negotiations, and my goal was to negotiate for the town at every turn. And then, so that went very well. And then, of late, the Patton Homestead proposed sale. I've been involved with the task force. Again, stepped right up. Have worked really hard on that. Have talked to everybody involved, and I feel that I've talked to everybody involved and worked very hard to make this happen as well. And I would continue to do that.
Okay. And have you held any of the leadership roles? In the select
Vice
board?
chair.
Okay.
And I have also, and this past year, I've been clerk.
Okay.
And I think hopefully Joe will attest to those minutes being turned in. And I've attended all the meetings. I'm very dedicated to the town and to this board. And I think the only meeting I missed was when I was very, very acutely ill. I'm a 100% turnout person who works hard. So
Thank you.
thank you.
And quickly, Tom, how long have you been on the board?
Yeah, so I'm in my second term, Lee. This is going into my fifth year, I believe it would be. Previous roles I've held on the board are just a secretary position or treasurer secretary position. Some of the big work initiatives that I've been involved in, I've been a part of the school building committee and pushing that work forward and making sure that we, brought a viable option to the public to vote on to move and potentially consolidate the elementary schools. So that was a multi-year effort working with the school committee and a number of different boards. I've also worked very closely with the Conservation Commission in supporting the development of their regulations and bringing those forward to town meeting. I do a lot of work with the climate action team, most notably recently bringing the change in zoning laws to town meeting, which wasn't successful, but ultimately something that the town, I think, could support in a later iteration, just not quite ready yet. But yeah, I mean, this is my second term and going into my fifth year here at the board.
I think it's a tough decision because I do know that Rosie is very dedicated to her position and the work that she does for the town. I am inclined, however, to go with Tom and giving him an opportunity to try the position of vice chair since he's not had that before. So where do we go from here?
All right, so this is where we go from here. So, I'll just sort of preface, I'll sort of restate because I'm going to finish it. But, my intention when I came to me was to support Rosie. But I want to be clear. I think, I would support anybody who wants to do and does a good job, right? I mean, I think we all work together, and I expect us all to work really closely together over the last year like we did, like I stated. So with that being said, the way the process works is that someone has to make a nomination, someone has to second the nomination, and we vote. The first person, if that person gets 3 ayes, that person wins and we close the vote. If that person only gets 2, then we have to nominate a second person. So that's kind of the way the process works. You have to pick some first person and go through the. So I'd say at this point we're ready for someone to nominate someone.
I would like to nominate Tom Myers for vice chair.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, so we'll do a roll call vote in the same order.
Okay.
So,
Lee McCoy, aye.
Ben Galuza, aye.
Rosie Kennedy, aye.
Tom Myers, aye.
and Bill Olson, I appreciate that it's unanimous, so thank you. All right, so now the last one is the clerk, which is also a very important role in the board, right? So
Very important role.
very important. So we'll have a discussion. I'm not sure, I haven't talked to anybody about people who want to do it or don't want to do it. So I'll start with Rosie and see if Rosie, you'd like to do it again.
Well, I don't know if there would be somebody else who would like to work diligently doing the minutes. I mean, I'm happy to do it again. Whatever helps the board the most.
Okay. Ben, go ahead.
I mean, I'm happy to help out and pitch in. I also know that Rosemary's done a fantastic job with it as well, so if she's willing to continue that effort, happy to have Rosemary continue. Also happy to support if that's desired.
Lee, go ahead.
I would be happy to support anyone that's willing to take it on. I'm not interested in doing it at this point. I want to see how the board functions and just be able to focus on issues.
And Tom?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to support anyone that's willing and able to do the role. I know Rosie's done a great job with it. I know Ben is entering his second year, and whether he's ready to sort of take on a new role, it's sort of up to him. If he's wants to give it another year to see, or if he feels like he's ready to step into a position. But again, I'm happy to support either anyone that's able to take on the role.
Does anyone make a motion? If not, I will make a motion. I make a motion to recommend and nominate Rosie continue as clerk for the next year. Do I have a second?
A second.
Roll call vote. Start with you, Lee.
Okay. Lee McCoy, aye.
Ben Galuza, aye.
Rosemary?
Rosie Kennedy, aye.
Tom?
Tom Myers, aye.
And William Wilson, aye. Okay, thank you. All right, important business. Thank you for good discussion and look forward to a good year. I think what we didn't have on the agenda is the is boards and committees, so we'll do that next time? Or is it on
Is
here?
that the board and committee openings? Right underneath?
No, for us to do our boards and committees assignments.
Oh, no, we do that, we always do that after this.
Okay.
Because you'll ask at the end of the meeting for them to submit to you their preferences, and then I'll
Do that
send you
next.
the
So,
blank
yeah,
thing,
think
you'll
about that.
fill it
So,
out,
so next meeting, we'll go through boards and committees. So if you can maybe do a little research between now and then about what boards and committees you might want to be on. And Joe can give the list out so you can see who's.
Yeah, I'll send
what-
the list
what
out
one-
tomorrow.
Like Bill Wilson's was obviously easy to take over, but we sometimes switch as well.
I'll send the list out tomorrow. We got a quick turnaround. The next meeting is next Monday, so ask you to get your preferences to the chair by Thursday so that he can have that filled out.
All right, I'm gonna quickly, sorry, go ahead, Lee.
Just real quick, how many generally does each person cover?
4 or 5, but some meet once a quarter, once a month. Some don't meet like on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. So you kind of don't want to pick 4 that meet every other week.
Okay, and Joe, when you send it out, would you indicate which ones that?
Yeah, the main ones that meet regularly are Council on Aging, Planning Board, Conservation Commission.
I meant the ones that Bill Wilson had.
Oh, yeah. When I send it to you, you'll see everybody's assignments from last year.
All right, board and committee openings. Affordable Housing Trust has 1 opening. We're appointing Council on Aging tonight, right? Just 1? Okay. Conservation Commission has 2 openings. Community Preservation Committee has 2 openings, 1 opening for a member of Historic District Commission and 1 opening for an at-large member. Council on Aging has 1 opening. Finance and Advisory Committee has 2 openings to the moderator. Probably a discussion that there have been some people nominated.
There have been 2 people's names have been set forwarded to the moderator. The new moderator, I do not know if he's appointed them yet or not.
Okay. Hamilton Environmental Impact Committee has 1 opening, and the Historic District Commission has 2 openings for 3-year terms,
And then
2 openings for 2-year terms. 1 must be a resident of the Historic District, and 1 must be a resident realtor. And then on the next page, we have a Human Rights Commission has 1 at-large opening. This is a time in the meeting we allow for public comment.
Can I ask a quick
sorry.
question?
I'm sorry, could I just interrupt for a
Yes.
sec?
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
The Council on Aging, there is not a board position. Joan Melanson, while I was incapacitated, was apparently appointed to that
Okay.
position.
Okay.
So that the position we're filling tonight is for an associate. And I'm sorry, people just come out of the woodwork to want to be on the
It's
Council on
amazing.
Aging Board.
It's amazing. Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Of course.
Next section is public comment. We invite some people tonight to make public comment. So hopefully they're here tonight, take advantage of the opportunity. If you're going to make public comment, we'll start first with people in the room. Come up to the podium, state your name, your address, and you have up to 3 minutes to speak on any topic.
Yes, my name is Mitch Wondolowski. I live at 988 Bay Road. I've been here, actually, we moved here I think, about 11 or 12 years ago. And I'm basically interested in proposal at 957 Bay Road. I was at the last ZBA meeting, and I am a real estate agent. So I've had some experience with ZBA boards. And basically, my
No,
understanding.
sorry, just one second.
Basically, my understanding is the ZBA boards are trying to make decisions that will really rock the community the least amount. That's been what I've been communicated, and I've talked with boards down in the Vineyard and also in Marblehead and other places in Essex County. The thing is that I went to the ZBA meeting, the last one that they had, and the gentleman who purchased the property brought his attorney and began talking about establishing a baseline, all right? And the baseline being that, it's a full operational service station. My question is, I thought this would be a slam dunk, all right? My question is, I'm not an attorney, but the thing is that can you really establish sort of precedents beyond 10 years, all right? Nothing's happened there. It's a residential district. If you look around and drive through it, that's all you see. And now this gentleman wants to not only wants to have the right to do what was there eons ago, but he wants to expand the use of it in 3 different areas too. So we're going to end up with a mini mall there. So I thought it was a slam dunk. And the neighborhood is actually agitated. And if the ZBA continues this way, we're going to become a little bit more verbal, within the town. But I just wanted to let you guys be aware, because I'm not seeing anything happen there. So that's it.
Thank you. Yeah, and someone else can get up and speak, but we just want to clarify, and I'm not going to answer your question, but just to give just a basic sort of summary up here is that the ZBA is in the independent board of the select board. The topic.
I understand.
And I want the public to know, you're right.
No. I totally get that.
Yeah, so although we're here, we're not, we unfortunately can't debate the issue.
No, I
It
understand.
works, but we want to hear the comments. We want your comments to get out there.
You
We want
should be
to
aware of
involved,
what's going
and we
on
want to
there.
be aware
Yeah.
of it and hear
Yeah.
opinions. So thank you for
Exactly.
coming. And then there's also, keep in mind, it will go in front of the plan, whatever the ZBA decides, it may or may not then go to the planning board
No,
as well, too. So,
Well, I'm just,
There's a process, too.
I'm hoping that it's going to take its full course, all right? And I'm just, alerting you folks too, that the neighborhood is prepared to actually fight this, all right? It's incorrect. It really is incorrect use for what is there today and has been there for over a decade in my own personal experience. So, like I say, when I went to the ZBA board and I thought it would be a slam dunk type of thing, it's not. And so there is issue here.
no, thank you for speaking, and we
Okay.
welcome you to keep speaking on the topic.
And just to make a quick comment, I am the select board liaison to the ZBA, so I have been following this issue.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Hi. Oops. Hi, it's my first zoning board meeting, and my name is Christy Heath, and I live at 956 Bay Road, directly across from 957, where the proposed project is being proposed. And I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight, and thank you, all of you, for your service. Like I said, I'm here about the 957 Bay Road application currently before the ZBA. I understand that the ZBA is independent, and I'm not asking the select board to weigh in on the merits. My request is narrower. I just want to please encourage, or please have you encourage the the ZBA to make full use of town council before reaching a final decision. This is not a routine application. It involves the following: a proposed change to a pre-existing non-conforming use from over 70 years ago, before there were 2 schools built less than half-mile away. Disputed interpretations of Hamilton Section 5.2 of the zoning bylaws. It's also questions about the correct baseline for comparison, which Mitch was talking about, and the potential for a long-term precedent for other non-conforming properties that could be set with this decision. I also want to bring up the 2024 Hamilton Master Plan points commercial growth toward downtown and designated business areas. That makes a proposed expansion of commercial use on a residentially zoned Bay Road parcel especially important to review very carefully. Many neighbors, myself included, are very concerned about the character of the neighborhood. The traffic and safety I'm especially concerned about. We've had major accidents there that I've been a first responder on, and it's awful. My daughter is traumatized over it. I'm concerned about the scale of the proposal. It's way beyond what it was originally intended for in 1950-something. And whether the project goes beyond what has actually existed on the site, which I think it does. We respect the zoning board's independence, but we're concerned that traffic and safety on Bay Road are not getting enough weight in this issue. We ask the select board to stress that any change at 957 Bay Road must be closely evaluated for its impact on turning movements, driveway conflicts, pedestrian safety, and that these safety risks should be front and center in the zoning board's deliberations. The ZBA should be supported in focusing on the applicable bylaws, the record evidence, Hamilton's master plan framework, and clear written findings. We're all very concerned about that. The board should not be forced, the zoning board should not be forced to rely mainly on the applicant's legal framing or on arguments about financial viability. They've talked about the feasibility of it, or in hypothetical worse alternatives, or tax benefits. That's not their job, and just wanted to make sure that they stay focused. My simple request is to please encourage, for you guys to please encourage the ZBA to work closely with town council and clearly document the legal basis for whatever decision it makes. Thank you. Many of us care deeply about our neighborhood and about getting this right for our town and, yeah, for our town and neighborhood. Thank you so much. I just want one more thing. I'm just very glad to have you, Rosemary. We're in this room, 75% men, and I appreciate you. Okay.
Definitely.
And in a leadership position.
Thank you.
And I feel heard, and I think that a female perspective is very important.
That's-
Thank you.
That's what's most important to me. Thank you so
you.
much.
Anybody else in the room before we go to the,
I'll very quickly say I'm Peter Townsend from 38 Gardner Street, and I'm here in support of my neighbors. I also have a large adjacent line with 957 Bay Road. I've only lived in this town for 5 years, but I did grow up in Manchester. My mother was the second female select person and chair of the board there, Polly Townsend. I'm equally concerned. I don't quite understand how a continuation was even accepted based on FedEx receipts or some other kind of thing when we've all observed no activity. The zoning is the zoning. If the use ends, it reverts to the zoning. That's what we all thought, believe, that the town voted that way. So we're concerned, we're prepared to act, and that's all we're trying to express tonight. Thank you.
thank you. Is there anybody online have their hand raised?
Nope.
No? All right, well, thank you for speaking. This is what it's here for. That's what we're here for, to listen to you and keep speaking and make sure you're heard. Okay?
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Have no more comment. We will go to the consent agenda. We have many things on the consent agenda. We have the approve the Accord Food Pantry request for a message about Stamp Out Hunger Day. We have the high school senior banners.
Can I ask you to take that one out? I had misread the request, so
one?
I think you
Okay.
should discuss it before you do.
The food pantry?
Yeah.
Okay, so take that one out.
And
So on the
somebody here-
consent, there's 5 items now. It's going to be the high school senior banner request on Bay Road. It's going to be board meeting minutes from December 15th, December 18th, and the executive session from December 18th, 2025, and then a recent board meeting from March 2nd. So we have 4 meetings, minutes to approve, and high school senior banners for display on Bay Road. So everybody want to make a motion to approve consent agenda?
Sorry, just can I ask, so I think I had the outdated, so we're holding the Accord.
Holding
Food
the Accord,
Pantry.
yes.
Okay, and what was aside from the meeting minutes, what was the other?
Oh, sorry.
item?
There was the meeting minutes and then.
Right, yeah.
And then it was added today,
Yeah.
it was added today, the high school request to
Oh, the
allow
senior
the senior
posters,
banners
yeah.
along Bay Road, as
Okay.
they've done the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I think that's I think it's a great
Oh, it's awesome, yes.
thing for the kids. I'm just so excited. They get to be world famous, and I'm glad about that.
You good, Ben?
Yes, sorry,
Okay.
thank you for that.
So do I have a motion to approve the 5 items on the consent agenda?
I mean, the 4 items?
5, that'd be 5 instead of 6. 4 meetings and 4 meeting minutes and 1 banner request.
Oh, there are only 3 meeting minutes.
1 is in the executive session.
Okay, and that doesn't
Yeah.
go on this?
Correct.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so I move that we accept the consent agenda accepting the Accord Food Pantry request.
Except for that one, okay. Yep. So I have a second.
Second.
The only item I have just on the executive session, just adjust the spelling of my name from an E to an O. That's the
And
only.
I did that.
Okay,
al-
just to go on
already
record,
the-
but I'll
yes.
still approve it.
And I apologize for that.
Any other discussion? All right, we'll go roll call vote. We'll start same order.
Okay. Lee McCoy, aye.
Ben Galuza, aye.
Rosie Kennedy, aye.
Tom Myers, aye.
And William Olson, aye.
Hey, the Accord Food Pantry item, Ally
talk about that?
Ally Haydock from the Accord Food Pantry is here,
Okay.
seeking to be recognized. She's got her hand up. I just mentioned, the reason I asked you to hold it was that I had put it on the consent because I thought they were just asking to use the signboard, but they are also asking for a code red call, and we've never done that before, so I thought, in reevaluating that today, I thought the board should discuss that
Okay.
as opposed, because you've never used a code red for a non-town governmental use before.
All right, so let's recognize Accord Food Pantry and have them speak. So who's on the call? Yeah,
Hey.
Ally, you said?
Hi, I'm Allie Haydock. I'm a Hamilton resident and I work at Accord. I do the marketing and fundraising. Thanks for having me here. I just wanted to answer any questions you have. We have this big food drive coming up on May 9th. And I know it's actually nationwide. It's the Stamp Out Hunger food drive. And so we typically, other organizations, Beverly Bootstraps, Open Door, Citizens, and they have their towns help promote this event. It's when the postal carriers go pick up food that people leave out by their mailbox. So we're just hoping to raise awareness about the food drive, whether that could be through one of the digital signs or, a robocall. Again, I know other neighboring towns do this, so we thought we should ask Hamilton. Where they used to send out bags so every resident really knew that it was happening, but they don't do that anymore with the plastic bag ban. So last year we really didn't get much from the food drive. Our demand is up higher than ever. We've had over 150 people in the past week. We've 40% of our 1,000 clients are Hamilton residents. So just looking to stock our shelves and hopefully get a lot of food on May 9th. So any support you can offer would be appreciated.
Thank you, Ally. No, I once again applaud your efforts, and we will be here to support. Well, you guys need to be successful, especially because you support Hamilton as well. From the specific question, I love people like to stretch things and think outside the box. From my opinion, and we'll vote on it, from my opinion, I think I'd be willing to support it however we can in terms of the signboard, in terms of social media sites, in terms of the town website. I like to reserve our automated system for emergencies and things of that nature because it becomes, if people get too many of them, it becomes less effective. So I'm in favor of everything you want to do, but I think we have to reserve our automated phone service for sort of town emergencies and things that because I want people to sort of think, oh, this is another thing that I don't need to pay attention to. So that's my only thing. I think it's great that you're asking, but I think we can maybe substitute it with social media and town website type information. But that's my opinion, but I welcome the will of the board to give their thoughts as well. So, Rosie?
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think it's a wonderfully worthy cause, and I have no issue using the signboard or social media. But I, like you, Bill, feel that we should save the reverse 911 for true urgent town matters.
Tom?
Yeah, I was just going to ask a question. Maybe, I don't know if this is Bill, maybe it's Joe. Because I know we have like some language on our website, or the town website, about code red alerts. Is there like a specific policy that we have about when that should be used? And I ask because I know we generally reserve it for emergencies. I do know there is like a general notifications that you can send, and I'm just curious, like what falls into those buckets versus the emergency,
Yeah, the,
and if there's a formal policy on it.
There isn't that I know of a formal written policy that the select board has adopted. We have been utilizing an informal policy of reserving code red usage for town events only. Typically, those have almost exclusively been related to town emergencies. But the board has endorsed once or twice the use for the use of Code Red to let people know about important upcoming town meetings. I think we used it twice last year for 2 of the special town meetings related to the different votes that were going on, because we wanted to make sure people knew the date. But those, in the 7 years I've been here, those are the only 2 times that we used it for non-emergency use. That comes as recommended by both of our chiefs, in that if you use Code Red too often for things that aren't emergencies, people will stop paying attention to Code Reds. So we tend to use them. There's, water is out, there's a water main break, we're on it, we let people know that's an emergency that affects their ability to, use their home properly.
Yeah, that's helpful. Yeah, I was just curious what those general buckets were. I think those make sense, like emergency, obviously, and I think general, town-related events. I think that makes sense. And I agree with your position of not overutilizing it. My only thought is if we do sort of want to document that in some sort of formal policy, just so that makes these decisions a little bit easier, we can think about that. And applying that to sort of this ACORD ask. Obviously, it's not a town entity that's requesting it, and we don't want to get into the business of non-town entities requesting the use of that, because that could get out of hand quickly. But then on the other side of it, I know Ally spoke to I think it was 1 in 12 residents in Hamilton are utilizing the Accord's services, so does have a direct impact on Hamilton. So maybe there's some flexibility we offer in a policy where if there's a direct impact on Hamilton residents or something like that. I'm just sort of floating some ideas of something we could think about in the future, but I do understand the current policy and how it exists. So that's helpful. Thanks for that information.
Did you want to go?
Anybody else?
Ben?
I don't think I have a lot else to add to the discussion. I think a lot of good points have been made. I think it is important to reserve it for emergencies and town uses. I know, I care a lot about the Accord Food Pantry. I'm very glad that they're here today to talk about their upcoming food drive on May 9th. And I think the details that are in the packet as well, I think we should speak to that here today around, that people, if you leave the food out in bags, presumably that the post office will collect it as well. So I think just making sure that everyone at home knows that that's an option of not needing to go buy and deliver food. If you have things that are non-perishable and you leave them out on May 9th, they'll be picked up and brought back to the food pantry. So I thank Ally for coming in tonight to let us know about this opportunity to help support our food bank. And we're very happy to have you here in our town and helping out our community.
Thank you. That sounds good. I completely understand the use of Code Red, and even just being able to use the digital sign is a huge help. So I can send over that language to who manages that sign. Is it the police?
Joe.
or-
Send me the information, Tim Olson will get it up.
Yeah, we'll get that to
Okay.
you. And then would it be helpful if you could push something on the website or the social media? You can work with Joe on that too, okay?
That would be great. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Comment to make too.
Real quick, I'm sort of torn in this situation because I do feel like we have a real issue in this town of getting information that's happening in our boards and such out to the people. And I'm torn only because I agree that there's definitely a balance here to strike with the Code Red situation. Anyways, I think we should be looking for opportunities to help fix that situation, whether that's having a different way of sending out those sorts of messages to people.
Well, we
so
put
that-
money in the budget for Joe this year to improve that, so you are,
Okay, good.
you're on point.
We're already trying to work on it.
You're on point.
And
Lee.
I'm really hoping the Hamilton Wenham News will do a little news story
Yeah,
about the
sure,
Step Up,
yeah.
Step Out Hunger food drive. I think that's,
Well, we've tried. We've tried, and they want to charge us for an ad. So we're trying all our sources here.
well, I mean, yeah.
Well, she can cover the topics of the meeting tonight on the, and she always
That'd be
copies the
good,
topics of
yeah.
the meeting. So before we go to a motion and a vote, I think what Ben says is important, right? So give us the details again, loud and clear, about what because people are watching, listening to this. What exactly should people do on May 9th?
Yeah, so May 9th in the morning before your mailman comes and leave the food by your mailbox. Make sure it's not expired, anything non-perishable, and it will come to Accord, or you can drop it off at Accord, 69 Willow Street at any point that day on May 9th.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So do I have a motion to approve the Accord Food Pantry's use of our digital sign and our social media platforms to put out information for a Stamp Out Hunger food drive on Saturday, May 9th?
So moved.
Second?
Second. Okay, any further discussion or clarification I missed? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote.
Lee McCoy, aye.
Ben Galuza, aye.
Rosie Kennedy, aye.
Tom Myers, aye.
And William Olson, aye. All right, thank you, Ally.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for supporting May 9th. Okay. All right. Sean Timmons, are you in the house? So I just want to thank Sean. I mean, Sean has been the cool, calm, collective leader of our rec department for as long as I have been here, and I appreciate your calm confidence because you do a great job and successful, and you just keep improving and quietly improving, but you should get credit for the hard work you do. So we're glad you're here today.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It was funny. I was just telling Lee, I think this is going to be my, this summer will be my 15th year. Yeah, 15th year, which is crazy to think about. Yeah, really is crazy to think about. Oh, thank you. Thank you. So I did just, for a quick update, just sort of let you guys know of a couple really cool projects that we have going on over at Patton Park. So about a month and a half ago, I got a phone call from Juan Ramos, who is, I had to take notes down to make sure I got this right, who is the commander of the Abrams Company, 4th Battalion of the United States Brotherhood of Tankers. So he happened to be at the park. He came down to my office, and we talked for about a half hour. And what his company does is their mission is really to restore public memorials within their area of operations. And that this particular group, their area of operations happens to be in New England. And part of that, they do a lot of restoration of tanks. So they've done about 20 tanks. And Juan had let me know that the tank at Patton Park was really on their radar for a long time. So kind of after that initial conversation, we kind of going back and forth through email. They had sent some really, really cool pictures too. So we just this past Wednesday, we had a great Zoom meeting. It was with Juan and Chuck Keneally from the Abrams Company, who is like super knowledgeable about tanks. V. Chipperini, who's our veterans agent, as well as Peter Gwynn, who is a rep from the Legion, as well as does the Military Service Day down at Patton. So, Chuck was able to provide us with some great information, knows, exactly the history of the tank, the exact colors that should be used. So we're really excited to kick this project off. Juan thinks that, his company, might be able to get it to come in as early as early June, which would be really great. So really cool project. I learned a lot in the Zoom meeting, not exactly my area of expertise, but really cool. And I think we're really kind of excited to get that project going. And it's really, obviously, it's, a well-known part of the park. I think you talk to anybody, and, a lot of it, when you talk about Patton Park, they talk about the tank. So really cool, and, really excited that Juan ended up reaching out and give us the call. It's all grant funded. They get funding through the Massachusetts State Historic Records Advisory Board. So it's all grant funded, and, a really cool project that we're really excited about. The other project that we have going on down at Patton Park is the gazebo renovation. So as you guys might be aware, a few years ago, we've been sort of working on the master plan for a while now, but a few years ago, or last year, we had $100,000 of ARPA fund was set aside for the master plan. We have used about half that money to do design and engineering for both the sort of the physical layout of the park as well as the gazebo. this past town meeting, we were successful in reappropriating some capital funds around. So really, we are, I know that the drawings and stuff are in your packet, but we are ready to go with the renovation of the gazebo. We're eyeing, and our architects think that the late fall is achievable to start the project. Obviously, we have the concerts in the park and all sorts of things happening this summer. But really, a lot of the behind the scenes, the background work has been done. It really is just kind of waiting for, the time to be right to go out to bid and get the project done. But the project really focuses on the roof. It focuses heavily on the ADA accessible ramp to make the ramp ADA accessible, as well as doing some real work with the electrical. Right now, our electrical outlets are on the posts. We're going to put them in the ground, as well as lighting up underneath as well. So kind of roof, electrical, and the ADA accessible ramp and walkway are really kind of the key parts of that, as well as the posts and the rails. I don't know if anyone had any questions on any of that.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
What, on the restoration of the tank, are they just stripping it and repainting it? What kind of work
Yeah,
are they going to be doing?
yeah. So we need to. We're responsible for power washing. So they'll just go in and they just repaint. I mean, I can get you the specific answer. I'm not exactly, but yeah. But I mean, I know that it's they want to make sure that it's kind of painted in the color that it was originally designed to be.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a question on that tank as well, too. So on the master, and I'm not suggesting this, I'm just asking for comment on it, right? So as part of the master plan, though, they looked at the fields, and they thought that by moving the tank, it'd make the fields more appropriate for the recreation and the fields and the softball and the baseball. Where did that end up? Does it matter if we do what if we do the restoration now and then a couple of years decide, we want to move the tank over 10 feet to make the fields work better? Like, is that part of the thought process? Is it irrelevant and independent of each other?
Yeah, I think it's probably irrelevant and independent of each other. I think that, with the moving of the kind of the diamond, it's just such a major project and so costly that I'm not exactly sure, if that was going to be, if that would be something that we'd be able to get done in the next, 5, 10, 15 years. I think long term, it would be great because it would, that baseball diamond, I mean, if anyone's familiar with it, the right field is basically the road. So, I do think there is, some work that could be done there. But I do think that, whether or not the tank is refurbished, I don't know if it really impacts our ability to move it if we needed to.
Yeah. Fair comment. And then, I had one more question. Not good. The renovation on the gazebo, is there a lifespan, like this renovation is going to get us another 10 years, 20 years? Do they give you any sort of estimate on how long?
So, right now, I believe the gazebo, I should have went down there and checked the plaque, but I think it's 25 years right now. So we're hoping, that it would get another at least 20 to 25, with the work that's being done, so.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Rosie.
Okay, thanks, Sean. My first question is, when are the senior swims this year?
So senior swims are Wednesday mornings. I had everything prepared for you, Rosie. Don't worry. I knew you were going to ask. Wednesday mornings, Sunday evenings, and Saturday mornings. And on Wednesday mornings and Sunday evenings, I think we're going to add a free water exercise component to it. I knew you were going to ask.
You have to understand how long we've been discussing this. Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
On behalf of the seniors and as a member of the COA Board of Directors, that is fantastic. So I don't have questions. I just wanted to make a couple of comments. The first comment is regarding the Patton tank and thinking about moving it. It's not just the tank, it's the whole World War II memorial that is the flagpole and the plaque and all of that is part of the whole package. So I think it's important if we do think about moving it, think about the impact. The Patton family definitely chose that spot. And so, and I know you're saying this is not something you're thinking about right now. And then secondly, so somebody who's been very involved in this is Peter Gwynn, who also is responsible for the Military Service Day. And he said that the people at the Brotherhood of Tankers had contacted him, and then they also outlined particular colors, particular shades of that green that were relevant to World War II tanks, which I thought was very interesting. And also that the USA Brotherhood of Tankers, it consists of veteran researchers, engineers, mechanics, and craftsmen that restore their historic tank operational examples and static military tank displays. So my comment is I think this is a very fitting project to do to respect the Patton legacy. The other part of that is, if you think about it, we're generals, right? There's so much intertwined between our history and the Patton family history. So I'm very proud to be able to support this endeavor.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, this is something that, just from talking to Juan was, this is kind of a project that's really been high on their list for a long time now. Then, to have the opportunity for them to do it, I think they're really excited about it as well.
For the gazebo, has it been assessed structurally as well for the main?
Yeah, so, right, we actually, part of the project is, they sort of came in and, kind of did a little review on it. We do have to check it for asbestos too. So we're kind of going through that process as well before we kind of go out to bid with it.
It's only 25 years old. There shouldn't have been any.
Part of the construction processes, they need to check it for asbestos, which we don't think there is any, just in case. Yeah, just in case somebody stuck them in there.
Going out of their way to break the law 25 years ago.
DP makes you pull a permit.
Yeah.
Such an innocuous-looking little gazebo.
Okay.
But yeah, we did some work to the flooring. So the floor is brand new, or not brand new, is probably about 5 to 6 years old. The entire floor, yeah.
So
And that's like track decking or something similar?
composite plastic, wood, sawdust stuff. And then are they refinishing it? Are they scraping, priming, painting?
So yeah, scraping, priming, and painting, and then the work to the the railing and kind of the top of it. But yeah.
Yeah, I saw on the plans. I didn't read all the notes very closely. I saw like a blue dashed line kind of going around like the drip edge of the gazebo. Do you know what was?
No, but I can find that. Yeah, I can find.
That's
that
all right.
answer,
Don't worry about it. I just wasn't sure if they were putting gutters up or if they were putting in a new drip edge or what. Anyway, in the weeds. I'll let it go. I'm done.
Yeah, but I can find that out. I mean, I think the idea, we're not adding anything new to it. It's going to be consistent to, just, we just want it to be sturdier and look newer. Yeah, yep.
That's great.
Anybody else? I think the only other thing I had is just other programs this summer. What's the summer camp already full? What's the deal with that?
Yeah, so we're still taking some registrations. We have some openings still for some of our younger kids in our summer camp. Just the pool cover is coming off in I think 3 weeks, so we'll be down there. But so we're ready to go. We're fully staffed. All of our staff hiring is we've taken care of, which was really great before April vacation, so fully staffed and ready to go, and now just kind of working on a lot of the details for the summer. But
how many kids?
Yeah, we're excited.
How many kids will be signed up this summer?
Yeah, we usually typically average between like 180 and 200 a day, so that's sort of kind of the average, depending on the calendar's a little weird this year with the 4th of July being on a Saturday, so it kind of the week before, the week after, it makes it a little tricky. So those weeks are a little bit lower. But after we get through that, we're pretty full those rest of the weeks.
Excellent.
I have a quick question. That's not right. How many of the people that you hire for the camp are Hamilton kids?
Ooh,
Ballpark.
Yeah, 85% probably, 80 to 85%, I would say, on a given season. Yeah.
Can I ask a follow-up to that? What percentage are returning?
So I'd say this year we actually probably had about 85 to 80% or 80 to 85% return at the pool, which typically we tend to see a little more turnover with the pool staff. Camp staff, we had almost we didn't hire a lot of camp staff last year, so this year was a little bit of a more of a turnaround or a turnover with camp staff. Just as kids get older, they, internships, things of that. So, I'd say probably 70% of camp staff is returning, 85% of the pool staff.
So you think about that 70% and 85%, it really shows how connected the employees, the summer employees are to the programs, and I think that's great for continuity for the kids that are coming up and growing up through those programs. So I again, compliment Sean on his leadership down there and able to bring back the same staff.
Yeah, it's really great. My son, I live in Salisbury, so my son plays Triton basketball, so we'll, have away games over at Hamilton Wenham just to see kids, and then, see some of the counselors and the kids that are playing basketball run up to the counselors to go talk to them, or they see them all over the place. So it is really it's a cool thing. It really is.
You don't get in front of us very often because you're busy, which we appreciate, but since you're in front of us now, so you got your budget approved this month. We've got another year to work on next year's budget. What's one thing you would ask for to start thinking about to put in your budget for next year? Yeah,
so I think we'd like to continue, pushing forward with the master plan, right? Like we know we have the gazebo portion of it done, or we're hopefully have that done. But we really also wanted to focus on the drainage and the accessible pathways. So with the funding that we have in place and with the ARPA funding that was previously approved, we do think that this gazebo project won't necessarily deplete deplete all those funds. So then taking a step back, and again, we have all the drawings and all the details on the on the drainage and the accessible pathways. So I think kind of moving forward with that and then connecting that, with the gazebo project would be great. And then I think, after that, you can start looking at, your fixtures, whether it's, more shade areas or picnic tables or benches. So, but really the accessibility aspect, especially now with the, we're going to be working with the handicap ramp would be really great down there.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're thinking about next year, this past winter, I know that the pond got a lot of action kind of from skaters and hockey players and things like that. So if you were looking for ideas about next year's budget, I might suggest kind of thinking about like snow blowers or pumps or things like that to allow it, because it got so much snow too, but being able to clear that ice and making it usable in a cold winter really boosts like kind of getting people outside.
I'm going to urge you not to do that. Let's not hold
No?
that conversation for another time.
Hey, I just plug an idea.
So, liability becomes a concern. If we start to do things to actively,
Force it,
as a
yeah.
town, clear the lake and make it right, and then
we
something
tried.
goes wrong, when we're going to be liable.
Here's past, all right.
We could take a pass. We can take a passive stance where the people go out there. Fine, we're not going to arrest them for it or anything. But if we actively prepare that, then we have to then
We have liability.
We have liability, and we have to make sure nothing.
All
goes wrong.
right. Well,
Because I had felt the same way that you did. And I was shut down.
I'm nothing if not consistent, Rosie.
there you go.
That's true. And it was lovingly shot down, but nonetheless.
Anybody else for Sean? All right, thanks for
Awesome. Thanks,
for the
guys.
long day
Appreciate
today.
it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Sean.
Thanks, Sean.
All right, next item on the agenda is execute purchase and sale agreement for the sale of the cell tower lease at 577 Bay Road.
So the lease is in your, the draft lease is in your P&S is in your packet, as is a draft motion. Lee Smith from KP Law, who has been working on this for us since December, I appreciate his perseverance, is here to answer any questions you may have.
Good evening.
Good evening. So what is the goal? Is the goal tonight to close the issue or to start talking about the issue?
So I think the motion here calls for the select board to vote to authorize the sale to Blue Sky, as has been previously determined by the previous vote of the board, and to authorize myself to execute the documents as you have in front of you, so that we can finalize that sale, and we'll get ourselves a nice a bit of money into the town's bank accounts for infrastructure.
And what areas, I've never negotiated this type of contract before, so what are the areas of risk or concern that you spend time negotiating that we should be aware of? Any terms that we should be aware of?
I'll leave that to our legal counsel. Sean? Lee?
Sure, thanks. So it's It's somewhat unique, might be an exaggeration, but unconventional, I'll say. So we're not selling the land that's below the tower. What you've done in years past is lease. It's a ground lease where the cell tower sits. That's leased to what the predecessor company. Now it's Everest. It was Varsity Wireless. So you lease that to them. They're responsible for putting up the tower, doing all the equipment, subleasing it out or leasing it out to cell phone carriers or other telecommunications providers. And here there's a proposal. So that was like, I believe it was a 20-year lease with some extension terms available. So here you're doing essentially a buyout of that entire lease. And in exchange, you're getting a lump sum payment. And then the purchaser of just the lease will assume all responsibility for things that go along with the lease. So they step into the shoes of the town as the landlord, and the town essentially steps out of that and just collects the money. And then just the only thing you really have to worry about is preserving your rights, which is already in the documentation, but there's access easements and utility easements and things of that nature. So you just basically want to keep an eye on it and make sure things are proceeding as intended.
So terms.
So rather than receiving, I'll just make up a number, $35,000 a year, you're going to receive a lump sum payment of, I believe it's $680,000, and that'll be that.
So the terms of the original lease didn't necessarily change; they just were incorporated into this. So we didn't give up any terms or conditions. We basically just added to them.
So the one substantive term of it wasn't even actually the lease itself. At your December special town meeting, you authorized an extension, the right to extend that lease.
Okay. Yes. For
additional terms of 2 5-year extensions each. And the reason for that was because it made it more marketable and attractive to the purchasers of that lease. But that has not been memorialized in the current lease itself. That's something that the purchaser can deal with directly with the current tenant.
And if this contract is with Blue Sky, correct?
Yes.
And if Blue Sky goes out of business or sells before the lease is up, what is this document? What are the rights of Hamilton in this document if they decide to either go out of business or sell?
I think I'd have to go back and look at the specific language, but my assumption is that it would terminate and revert back to the town. But I don't have that answer at my fingertips, but I can follow up with Joe on that.
I just don't know if it's like this contract is transferable with a new owner of Blue Sky or not. I don't know if that language is. I couldn't find it in here, but if it's transferable language,
transferable.
yeah.
Effective termination 10.2.
I mean, these cell phone companies change names and sell all the time.
Right. So, for example, you entered into the original lease with Varsity Wireless, and they were acquired by a company called Everest. And my understanding is that the Everest company is now beginning their work on a second tower behind the Public Safety Center.
Yep.
So that's my only concern. Really, is the worst case scenario? What happens if
Right.
What happens if there's some legal disagreement between the tenant and Blue Sky or the new owner, and how does the town have to resolve those situations, and does it get in the middle of the situation? That's really my only concern. The lease, everything goes perfectly. The lease, and the terms of the lease, and everything is perfectly fine. But I just worry about how does it protect this contract, protect us in a worst case scenario, and what that worst case scenario might be.
So I'm just thinking it through as we're speaking. So the town has collected all its money in advance over let's just call it a 30-year term. So you're out of that business, and what would remain is, okay, let's just pretend no cell tower company wanted to operate it there anymore, they would be required to remove all the equipment from there and restore the site.
Okay.
That's what would happen.
And we're never responsible for giving any money back, correct? They can't terminate early and get money back, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Can I just ask a question here about the term of this? I know we extended through town meeting the possibility of extending the lease, but this lease, this agreement that we're signing is for the term of how many years?
I believe, well, it's pursuant to the current terms of the lease with Varsity, which I want to say is a total term of 20 years. And then the December special town meeting enabled 2 additional 5-year extensions.
Right, but
that those extensions are all the responsibility of negotiating between the buyer of the current lease and the lessee. So Varsity's successor being Everest.
Okay.
Just one question for me, Lee. So just in regards to the due diligence process out in section 4.6, so are we anticipating any risk there with them, being unsatisfied with anything upon their inspection? And if they are, do we expect that they could come back with a lower proposal or any sort of like mitigation efforts, or what are we, is that just sort of, I know it's sort of standard language, but do we think there's any risk there with that?
My understanding is that they are completely finished. This has been going on for quite a while. They decided, just because of how long it was dragging out, that they would proceed at risk in pursuing their due diligence, which would be, for example, title, environmental, survey, making sure they have all the rights they need to operate in the way they need to. So the last piece was the survey. We got that last week. So we're discussing closing perhaps as soon as next week. So it's a little unusual in that the purchase and sale agreement hasn't been signed yet, but it's not unheard of that sometimes, we'll probably sign it in advance, but it's not unheard of that the P&S gets also actually signed at the closing. It's just the way the timing of the whole transaction works out. So I'm not anticipating any issues.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
In the drawings that were submitted that show the various easements, are those just a documentation of what's in all the existing titles, or?
So the survey that I provided to Joe last week, that's the actual survey that the purchaser of the lease had prepared. And Joe helped me out. I don't know if anyone on the town side had a chance to just compare that to what we had in hand from Varsity.
Tim assured me that the what you showed me, what you sent to me last week, Lee, was what is the operating environment out there with regards to access to the site and everything, and the easements for the power and everything else was all right. Was that all in that area, that shaded area? That what you're asking?
Essentially, yeah. I was just curious. Kind of, it looked like it was the buyer's survey, so I wanted to make sure that it matched up with our records, which it sounds like it does.
So, yeah.
So, did anything in the? So Joe says you've been working on this for a while. Do you want to give us a quick summary of any negotiations you had? And was it just paperwork back and forth, or were there any negotiations and changing any of the terms that you can give a quick summary of, or was the time just the process of just paperwork back and forth?
So I will say that I think the buyer and companies similar to them are probably more used to dealing with other commercial cell tower operators, landowners, and lessors of cell tower sites. So this one was, I think, maybe a little different than what they were used to in terms of dealing with a municipality. So, they'll send over a form and, I get stuck kind of modifying it to make sure that the town's municipal interests are protected. And for example, so there's the purchase and sale agreement. That's the basic outline of the deal. And then referenced in there is the actual assignment and assumption agreement, and that's the operative closing document, if you will. So I had to go back and add in a lot of language there that just made sure that the town was reserving all the rights that it needs to protect its property, to assure that it's clear that the town continues to be the owner of the site upon which the tower is constructed. That if you look at the current lease with Varsity, the town is the lessor, Varsity is the lessee, and just with that language, originally it just says, all right, Blue Sky will just step into the shoes and be the lessor for every term that says lessor in the lease, and that didn't really fit. So just one clean example is it refers to the lessor and reference to the town's bylaws. So obviously the purchaser, they're not their bylaws. So just had to go through that carefully and pull out and be very specific that in any instance where the circumstances dictate that the town still retains the rights it needs to be the landowner, to operate as a municipality, things of that nature. So that was probably the most specific, if you will, part of and it wasn't even really negotiation, might be an exaggeration. I made a proposal, they agreed to it. Okay. But that was, I would call the biggest, the heaviest lift, if you will, just to make sure the town's rights were protected in that respect.
All right, well, Lee, thank you and the firm for looking out for our best interests. Any
welcome.
other questions for him, and then I will make the motion. So I'm going to say, do I have a motion?
Yeah, have somebody read that, so you have the motion, the right language.
I'll read it, and then you can just move it. Okay. Do I have a motion to move that the select board vote to authorize the sale of the telecommunications lease agreement dated July 8th, 2016, by and between the town and Varsity Wireless LLC to Blue Sky Towers 4 LLC, DBA BSTMA 4 LLC, as authorized by the vote on Article 2025-12-3-1 of the December 9th, 2025 special town meeting, including all materials presented therewith to town meeting, and further that the town manager be authorized to execute any and all documents and take such action as may be necessary in order to consummate the transaction.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Joe, we good?
Yes, I will continue to make sure I follow council's advice and we do this to protect the town.
Thank you.
But it'll be great to get this kind of done behind us and.
Good precedent because we might have a second tower, so we've got the process down now.
We know what we're doing now, and
Okay.
it won't be as hard to do next time, hopefully. So.
Okay. All right, we'll go roll call vote.
Lee McCoy, aye.
Ben Galuza, aye.
Rosie Kennedy, aye.
Tom Myers, aye.
William Olson, aye. Thank you, Lee.
Thank you. Just one procedural or logistical point. Just because of the short time within which we'll be closing, I'm going to need a certified copy of the vote that you just took to go along with the closing documents. So whomever's taking minutes, if they could at least pull out this section of it and certify this vote, that would keep us ahead of the game.
We'll make sure the minute takers get those to us forthwith. And fortunately, we have another meeting next Monday. So if they get turned around, we can have these approved at next Monday's meeting and we're ready to go.
Perfect. Yeah, if you could add that to your agenda, just while you're thinking about it, that would be helpful. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
How do you pronounce? I don't want to mispronounce your name. Pagliuca.
Pagliuca.
I think it's Pagliuca.
Jean.
Pagliuca.
Next item is the appointment of Jean Pagliuca to the Hamilton Council on Aging to fill an open position, and we're hoping to discuss and vote tonight
As an alternate member.
as an alternate member. Sorry.
Right.
So we have. Is she on the call?
I believe, well, there was somebody with the initials JP that was on earlier, but she seems to have left, so maybe.
I'm just going to read it real quick, since she's not here.
Yeah.
Take 2 seconds. I am writing to express my interest in the alternate committee position with the Hamilton Council on Aging. Professionally, I'm employed by Senior Care, Inc., where I work closely with older adults and community partners to support aging services and initiatives. I hope to bring this experience to the Council on Aging and serve as a collaborative community partner supporting the Hamilton Council on Aging in any way possible through my professional capacity. On a personal level, I'm also a caregiver for a family member. This experience has deepened my appreciation for the vital role local programs and resources play in enhancing the well-being of our residents. The Council on Aging is an invaluable part of our community, providing essential guidance and support to so many. It would be an honor to contribute to this important work and support the COA's mission of serving older adults and their families in Hamilton. Thank you for your consideration.
Yes.
So do I have a motion?
Yeah, just so you know, just so everybody knows, the chair of the board, of the Council on Aging Board, Laura Studley, also sent a letter of endorsement. The candidate did meet with the Council on Aging and was endorsed by a vote of the board. They think she'll do a great job in working with them as needed.
Absolutely. I move that we appoint Jean Pagliuca as an associate member of the Hamilton Council on
Alternate
Aging.
member or associate member, Joe?
We have her listed as an alternate member, but we don't.
You know if it's alternate or associate?
Yeah, she wrote alternate committee
Okay, so go.
position.
As an alternate committee member, I think we've sort of wrestled with the distinction between those two terms. So associate, alternate.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All right, roll call vote. Lee?
Well, I just wanted
Oh,
to say
sorry.
I read through her
pardon.
resume, and it's clear she has a strong dedication to helping support communities and these types of nonprofits. And with her professional experience as a care manager of seniors, it sounds like she's a great fit. So just really happy to see people like this stepping up to help out the COA.
Yes, thank you. Anyone else? All right, we'll do a roll call.
All right, Lee McCoy, aye.
Ben Galuza, aye.
Rosie Kennedy, aye.
Tom Myers, aye.
William Olson, aye. All right, Joe, this is your favorite part of the meeting.
It is.
Annual goal setting and select board workshop meeting.
Yeah. So annually, we have a goal setting and workshop meeting. We've done it as early as June in the past. I think last year we didn't do it till August. Of course, last year we had a lot going on. So I think we had 2 special town meetings before we did goal setting for the year. So I'm hoping to not let it leak all the way into August again. But I did include for you. Unfortunately, it didn't translate well because I think it came across as a.
It's kind of.
But
It's readable.
You get the sense of what the goals were last year. I think that, and I gave you 3 months of calendars to look at, June, July, and August. We don't have to pick a date today, but if the members could start to circle around when you'd like to do this. I also thought that to mix it up a little this year, I might try to incorporate some of our goal setting into the way we deal with our, or interact with our department heads as well. So I thought that if we can pick a time where the whole board is available for, 2 to 3 hours, that could be on a Saturday morning, or if you all wanted to leave work early on a Wednesday and we wanted to go from 3 to 6 or 3 to 7, we could have the department heads come and do a little bit of like what Sean did here. I think when Bill asked the question, what would you want to try to have for next year? And then that could be part of our conversation, and that'll help lead us into the fall when we start talking about budgets again. The more ways we can do that with the department heads and then show the town we're doing that. These meetings get taped, they get broadcast on HWCAM, gives us opportunities to show the community that it isn't all being done behind the scenes in a back room, that we're actually getting the input from our department heads and our boards and committees before we start to work on the budget. So
I like that idea.
Just a great idea.
just means you all need to have 4-hour block of time for us to
I
pull
know
it off.
everybody's got different schedules, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll throw a date out there and then we can talk about it. Someone else can throw a date out there, but May's shot for me. July's probably not a great idea, so June's probably a good month.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that I'm okay giving a Monday. I mean, I know I'm here for a Monday meeting, so I'm okay coming, starting like you said, 3 o'clock, and just going, doing 3 to 6, and then we'll just roll into our meeting afterwards. Because I don't typically schedule things for the Mondays that I we have a meeting, so I'm typically free on those Mondays. So, Joe, do you know what Mondays in June?
Mondays in June, you currently have Monday, June 1st, and Monday, June 15th as your scheduled meetings. It is a month with 5 Mondays, so
Yeah, so we
you
do
could
have-
always do the 29th as well if you wanted to.
That's true. We
You
can
could
also-
add that meeting.
So thoughts on the 1st, the 15th, the 29th, that people have?
My preference, since I'm still catching up, so to speak,
Yeah.
with many things going on in my life, I would opt for either the 15th or the 29th.
I think the 15th, at least according to my calendar, is the last day of school. So that may impact folks that may be having things planned on the last day of school with children.
Yes.
The 29th is the
School
Monday
that
of-
early this year? Wow. That's good.
I don't know if that's changed recently with I mean, I have it marked on my Google Calendar, but it could have changed. So maybe we want to verify that.
Yeah, I think it might have gotten pushed to the 18th, but we should check. But the 29th would work great for me, but I can do either of the other days as well.
I'm good for anything in June, on as long as the Monday works with people's work schedules, I can do something similar, so.
All right, so Joe, let's finalize next Monday, whether it's going to be the 15th or the 29th.
Okay.
You can talk to your department heads too?
Yep.
See if it works for them?
Yep.
Gives them 2 options. And we'll double check if the 15th is the day that we're all going to be taking our kids out for ice cream. And not coming to a meeting.
Yeah, I mean, if we have a choice between the 15th and the 29th, and there's a possibility that's the last day of school, the thought of doing a 3-hour meeting for budget, so planning, and then a 2 or 3 hour select board
Or we
meeting.
would do a light agenda, but I hear you, yes.
Okay, we never have a light agenda, but anyhow, I'm just,
I thought we were going to have a light agenda next week until we started writing down things that we're going to talk about next week, and all of a sudden,
Right.
it's starting to get full. so.
right. So, and it seems like there's some flexibility for people, so.
So do we have to, does it have to be a meeting? Like, does it have to be a,
So in order for you all to meet together, we have to advertise it, but we always advertise it as a workshop, which means that we take minutes, but we don't take any votes. We announce up front there will no votes will be taken. It's an opportunity to ask questions, share information, and then you'll take votes about what the goals are at a future meeting. We've done that consistently over the last 7 years. It allows us to, we don't have public comment during that period. It's just for the board to focus on what you want to kind of come to consensus on focusing on for the next year, what you want to focus me on for the next year. And so I think this would be a good opportunity to introduce our department heads to that process and get them involved in it a little bit and let you hear directly from them all at once. Because it does get, you hear from, maybe the police chief will say something in November, and then the fire chief will say something in January, and then you're there in September and October, and we're starting to make budget decisions, and you're trying to remember all the things you heard. We have everything together. People will be able to offer you ideas of things that they would do if they had the opportunity, and then we can kind of, as a board, you can kind of weigh what your priorities are in that group of requests.
okay. All right, so,
Last day of school is the 18th,
okay.
so it won't interfere.
Sorry, students.
Yes.
Sorry, all those snow days.
They get out at
Yep.
11:15 though, so it's not a real, that's not a real school day.
Not at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with Rosie. If we're going to do it on a Monday, the concept would be we'd have a shorter
Shorter day.
day meeting. But I think it's a good to get the department heads involved, because I think that is important. And you also look at our list from last year. Believe it or not, we almost checked everything off the
I know.
box.
Bravo,
right?
Joe.
So we're doing good. So we want to really take some thought to make sure we put things on there that we can really tackle next year, because we have the capacity now. So, all right, so Joe, next week we'll
Finalize that next week,
Okay.
yep.
All right.
All right. And then,
Discuss a date setting for possible special town meeting in the fall.
yeah, so this was, again, you have a letter, or an email rather, from Town Clerk Corinne Kale. I'm not going to say it this year because I've been saying it each year for the last 3 or 4 or 5
We
years.
don't
and
need it, so-
Every
Yeah, we
time
don't
I
have
say it,
anything on it.
every time I say it, something comes up and makes me a liar, so I'm not going to say it. But in the event that we need a special town meeting, we think it'd be good for you guys to kind of circle around a date and get that identified. It allows a couple things. It allows the town clerk to better plan, and as you can see from the note that she sent, we have a state primary election in September, and we have the state general election in November. There's a lot of work that goes into those for her and her staff and the poll workers. And we also, as staff, have to then turn around and we back into the meeting. Whatever date you set, we have to roll back all the things that we have to do. When we start to produce the warrant, when you start to close the warrant, when we advertise the warrant, all that stuff has to get planned. All that work, all those dates have to get planned. So if you can identify a date now that, in the event that we need a town meeting in the fall, you can tell us a date, either today or Monday, and then we can do the planning in case it's needed. And then,
So Joe, if I said, what are the last five dates as town meeting in the fall, would you know, are those October, or those?
we've been all over the map.
We have been, okay.
We've done September, October, November, and December in my tenure here. So I would urge us not to do December again.
No.
And, you know,
Not due December, you said?
not to December.
Yeah.
I think that, Corinne notes in her email some dates that are good for her and her staff.
Yeah.
Saturday, September 26th is a good date. Saturday, October 3rd is a good date. And then she said, any dates after November 7th, I would add to that, any dates after November 7th, but before December, I would like us to stay away from. That's a lot at that time of year. We're trying to set the tax rate. We're trying to, finalize water bills and, to have staff also focused on a special town meeting. It'd be easier for everybody if we could get it done a little earlier than that.
I like the Saturday, October 3rd date. Does anybody think that's a good date?
I could do that one.
I think it's too soon, but I don't know.
We don't even have anything on the agenda yet, and you're
And it's
worried
6
about it.
months after the annual, so that kind of it's like it's halfway around the year where that kind of sort of makes
It
sense.
sounds like Corinne was giving us sort of hints.
My two choices were, October 3rd was up there. My choices were October 3rd or November 14th.
There,
But I'm fine with October 3rd.
it's a. I noticed that Wenham, they did their most recent annual town meeting on a weeknight.
Yeah.
I know we've historically done ours on Saturdays, and we had. Did we do weekdays?
This past year, we did weekdays.
one.
Well, we did a couple. We
We
did,
did, yes.
the one for Gordon Conwell in December was on a
when it's kinda
weeknight,
like-
and the one for 3A was on a weeknight, so.
So it seems like as well, if it's a single item type of agenda, that for our town anyway, it's not versus the annual town meeting where it's big, it's long, and we're trying to get it all done in one meeting, right?
Yeah.
But we've made allowances as well to do it on weeknights when it's more single agenda item meetings.
Right.
Was there any appetite for that in terms of not having to do it on a Saturday?
Well, I would just say that we have a lot of older residents who really complain a lot about evening meetings. It was very distressing to watch seniors come to all the special town meetings in the evenings attached to their walkers and their canes, and I thought it was unfair, and I really would like to see it be on a Saturday morning for the sake of residents who continuously attend town meetings. So that's just my thought.
The ones that we had during the week, we did try to get the school on board with canceling all activities for those days, which was not easy to do. So it was a struggle to sort of not have conflicts, because we wanted to get people, so it kind of goes both ways. That's something with this short meeting at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning, you don't miss a lot of
Right.
field time, because a lot of things there's not a lot of games at 9, but if the meeting goes till noon, you're gonna start missing field time. So if it's a single, right, if it's I could argue if it's a single item vote 9 o'clock in the morning on Saturday is probably even better because it's over by 9:30, 10 o'clock.
And Joe will be very brief in his articles for the warrant, and I won't talk too much.
But
I thought we did a good job just with annual this year. I think we only had a total of like 20 total articles, and we took care of half a dozen of those in a consent motion, so I think we only needed 16 votes or something to get through town meeting. It was crazy.
So I think I think we're gonna decide tonight, but because we're meeting next
Tom's hand
Monday,
is raised.
let's talk about it a bit more and let's go away and come back with some ideas. But Tom, go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, I just had like a crazy idea. I mean, I know I understand Rosie's point about the seniors, and I know we got some pushback about the evening hours, and I know on the alternative side we got pushback on the Saturday mornings for those that have kids in sports, and so I think it's like tough to find that balance of like what is the right time. Is it crazy to even think about a Sunday like where there's less sport options? I mean, is Sunday a not okay ask given, but I'm just wondering, have we ever considered that? Less sports happen on Sunday more, it's usually Saturday. You could do it in the morning, such, but I don't know if that's unheard of or not even worth exploring, but just trying to find a middle ground to try to meet everyone's needs.
Or what about an 8 a.m. start on Saturdays? Anybody up for that?
I think that would be, on behalf of the town clerk, I would say she's got to get there, she gets there at least an hour, hour and a half before we get started. She's got to get everything set up, she's got to get her poll workers there. So if you're going to start a meeting at 8 o'clock, then you're asking the poll workers to get there at 7, so we can open the doors and start checking people in. They get paid a little bit, but it's not like this is a professional job for them. I think it's a little bit asking much to expect people to get up and be at the.
What about Sunday?
7 a.m. I'll look into it. I mean, I've never heard of a special town meeting or any kind of a government meeting on a Sunday.
Yeah. Just crazy idea, just trying to find something, right? I mean, I know we get pushback from both sides of the pie here of, evenings don't work and Saturday mornings don't work. And each side has a very valid reason why those, are not okay. And obviously we want to promote the best turnout possible. But yeah, I'm just throwing out ideas out. So
I do think that what we've seen here in the last couple of years is that turnout is driven by what's on the agenda, not what day or night of the week it is. I understand Rosie's point. I understand Rosie's point about how it taxes certain people, and I agree with that. But if it's an important enough topic that we're putting on a special town meeting, we're probably going to get enough of a turnout to have the meeting and come to a decision as a community. I know years ago, before I got here, the town wrestled with quorums, and you voted to change your quorum to make a meeting official. We have been nowhere near that low number in the 7.5 years I've been here. The lowest I think we've ever had was 150, which is double what our quorum is. And in the last couple of years, it's been well above that. So
Does Wenham have a date?
no, Wenham typically has not done a lot of special town meetings. The last couple of years, they've done them really for the first time. The first 5 years I was here, they never had a special town
If you
meeting.
had to guess for anything that you could see possibly coming up, because I can't think of anything right now.
Well, see, I don't want to speculate because the last 4 years I've been trying to say that we're not going to have a special town meeting. And every time I sit here in April or May and say, hey, we don't need anything, by August, I've got 4 or 5 things staring me in the face going, oh my God, I
Right
should
now, you
open
don't
my
have
mouth.
anything on you.
As of right now, I have nothing on the radar. And
Are
I've
we
asked.
better off scheduling it earlier so that if it does need to be pushed, we can push it?
It's
That's
better
a good
scheduled
point,
because if it doesn't make it, then we don't have one. So maybe December, maybe Saturday, October 3rd is a good day to go with. If it doesn't get on there, then we don't have it. We wait till.
Could we think about an 8:30 meeting, or is that just forget about it, 9 o'clock, and that's it?
So I've already said what I had to say about the start of the meeting.
We can
So
do that. We can
ultimately,
vote.
it's up to the board. You can start the meeting at 8:30.
You're coming at 9.
So let,
I do think that you'll hear some pushback from our clerk, and I understand why she would do that, and I've already expressed that, so. But it is the board's decision to call a special town meeting and to formulate the warrant, and then the moderator runs it, and the clerk manages all the record of it, so.
why don't you ask
It's a
Corinne?
three-headed
between
monster.
Now and next Monday about, what time earliest that you thought would be appropriate, to what she says, just
And
to.
we'll have coffee?
And then we'll vote next week on, look at our calendars, I don't think what it is, but I think we've got October 3rd is probably the earliest, and I think November 14th probably the latest. And I think that a Saturday is probably still a better early and Saturdays, because once again, it's not going to be, like, the concept is this meeting, it would be for one or two of them. It's not gonna be a 3-hour meeting. That's not the point of this meeting.
And we'll hold you to that then, so that the kids can get to their games.
Yeah, right.
Yep. All right.
The last time I could find a Sunday town meeting was early colonial period.
Well, then there you go.
You're saying there's a chance.
If we really want to dive way back to old times.
We'll make the papers. Yeah. All right, new business. So new business, right, so next week we're gonna talk about the, annual goal setting. We're gonna decide between the 15th and the 29th. And we're gonna talk about the town meeting where they're gonna be at sometime between the 3rd of October, and so we'll talk about that next time. All right, Corinne said 8:30 is fine.
I love you, Corinne.
All right, so we'll talk about that next time. Two things I wanted to put out there for this year, not necessarily for next week, but two things I want to put out there this year is, number one is that policy writing. We've been talking about doing, I think we should look at all the stuff we knocked off this list. I think we have some time now. We should probably talk about policy writing. So next time, maybe we should talk about
Oh, good, the exciting stuff.
all the policies. And we have people out in the community who've been willing to help us with that, do some of the work in the background and bring it to us. So with policies and whatnot. So I think we should talk about whether it's signage, banners,
Use of
Patton Park.
use of public spaces.
I think that a sign would have caused such a ruckus.
Facility use
Such
policy.
yes, all this stuff. So that's one thing I'd like to talk about. Number two is we've been really busy this year with our own stuff, our own board, and I think haven't had put enough attention to what other boards are doing. And I think I'd like to get back to us giving a better update on the liaison positions of what and then inviting other boards to come and have joint meetings. We didn't do that enough, so I think that is one I'd like to do as well too. And the third one is we have joint meetings when we have a 5-board or the 5-board meetings, but I'm just trying to think about another way to maybe do.
You do joint meetings
meetings
usually
like
with
Wenham or
CPC
something.
in July? Oh, you want to do with
Even with
Wenham?
Wenham, yeah. Earlier than just the budget. I mean, they recently, have approved traffic change, right? It's going to affect all of us, but we weren't really part of that process, nor were we allowed to be, because Wenham would have been good to know what they were talking about, what they're going through, but we don't. So it'd be good to get an update from them and have a joint meeting to find out what things they're working on that may affect us, that maybe we can't necessarily vote on, but it'd be good to know what they are, so we have thought, because I didn't know that was a vote within the, to vote on that. I didn't know that was going to be their vote to vote.
I didn't either. As far as I understood, the state had taken
I thought
over
the
that
state had
process
taken
7 years ago, and I had no idea that they had a vote on it
Yeah,
until they
vote on
did
it,
it.
right, so-
Oh, okay.
Those are the kind of things I'm just thinking about in terms of communication, collaboration, and getting more information out there. But
That's good.
go ahead, Rosie. Anything else you want to talk about next week or in the coming weeks and months?
Just something that I had come up with in terms of the rededication of our town hall. I think it's, I want it to be a celebration for the whole town. And to that end, I thought that during the time when we're celebrating the ribbon cutting and the dedication of the elevator addition for Jay, that I'd like to organize an art exhibition. And I have contacted Eric Tracy, who thinks it's a good idea, and I've contacted Melinda Vining, our COA director, who thinks it's a good idea. What I'd like to do is do an art exhibition during the time of the grand reopening in the new memorial room, if we can make space. I would have to talk with Sean about that. And our town manager, but making an area where we could exhibit high school art, senior art, and then senior citizen art. I know that there are some great artists in both of those entities, and I thought it would just add to the celebratory nature. So,
Get people there. And be a draw to get people there.
well,
Yeah.
of course,
Both
because
things, right, yeah.
because I think it's really exciting, and we'll have
Good.
tea sandwiches and things like that.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking about and would like to do.
That's great.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
Yeah. Anything you want to add for next week or?
I had one AOB was when we were kind of coming out of all those snowstorms, and what a great job the DPW had done keeping the roads clear. And Bill, I think you had an idea about maybe a little.
Yeah, we talked about that. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, we wanted to sort of, when the smoke cleared, sort of.
Yeah, so I know, I've talked about it with the Public Works Director, and he's working on scheduling something. He wants to have it benefit both his full-time guys that do a lot of the work, but we also have 14 to 16 contract drivers, and so we're trying to arrange that at a time when they would be able to get here, and so we'll let you know when hopefully you'll all be able to come and join in the festivities. We decided we're
Flesh
gonna.
that out a little bit. It sounds like you guys know what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Sorry, I was trying to just like see Bill up and Joe up over there.
No, so Joe, yeah, just give a quick summary of what we talked about.
The idea was to, recognize the hard work. Our DPW workers and all the snow plow workers worked so hard this year, really far better than most of the communities around us as far as clearing the streets in a timely way. And I say that as a person that drives through 3 other towns to get here. And the roads hitting Hamilton were way better than most of the roads that I was on before I got here. We were going to have a celebration for them with buying them dinner. And it looks like we're going to focus on barbecue because we think that's what they'll like. We'll do a little barbecue dinner with them at the garage and invite you all to come down and thank them.
Yeah.
And,
It's a great idea.
Our credits too.
Good idea. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, that's really fun. And I will say, as a resident, that in years past, in the distant past, you would have to jump out of the way to save your life because these plows would go zooming down the street so fast that it frightened me. I would say that does not happen anymore, that they just do a really conscientious, good job.
And they willing to work, the hours that no one's around. They've been working. They work, for the midnight to the 6 o'clock a.m. shift.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
The couple of big storms there in January, the long-running storms, I think at one point we had, the first storm, I think our crew worked more than 36 hours in a row. So short breaks in between, but that is a long time to be driving. But that's one of the reasons that our roads were in such great shape.
anything else, Ben?
With Memorial Day coming up, just for the select board, and I know that we're invited to walk in the parade if people are interested, and so that's an option and opportunity.
And the breakfast.
Yep, and the breakfast as well. So.
Yeah, so Lee, there's a breakfast at the Legion Hall that
Garden
we're all
Post.
invited to.
Yep.
And then there's a great breakfast, and it's great hearing people speak.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the parade after that.
Bring your walking shoes if you're interested.
Yeah.
No, it's not that long. It's from Town Hall down to the cemetery. So,
And there's
short
a
walk.
little ceremony at the.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
Tom?
Oh, sorry. No, I'm good for now.
And look, Tom's
Nope, nothing else for me.
big as the screen right now, Tom.
Does he have the screen to himself?
Yeah, he's
No.
almost.
Yeah, it's getting dark.
All
Like
right.
Can I
my
just
burnt
real quick-
face.
Yeah. Anything else?
I'll give you guys quick updates on a couple of things. My wife and I are going to be traveling to Buffalo. Her last remaining uncle on her father's side is going to be visiting from the West Coast, so we're going to go out and visit them from May 8th to the 12th. Then the end of the month, the 27th, 28th, and 29th of May, I'll be participating in the Massachusetts Municipal Managers Conference down in the Cape, so I'll be away from town for those days. And I do have some dates in June. My oldest son needs a little bit of nasal reconstructive surgery, so I'll be taking some sick time to get him to his hospital trips and visits, and surgery day I'll be out, so.
Okay.
And just the other thing that we had talked about was doing something for the 250th 250th anniversary of the inception of our country, and we had I had talk with Joe about getting a flag and
I looked into one, but I didn't find a good source. Did you find a source?
We had some, we've looked at some, we just haven't purchased it
Yeah.
yet, so.
Good. I couldn't find one. that
When
was
do you,
good.
I guess what I'd need from the board is when do you want to raise that flag? And how long you want it to run for? It's a US flag, so it's not but it's a memorial flag.
yeah.
I mean,
commemorating
could
our-
we do it at the same time that we do the town hall ribbon cutting? That's like do a bunch
Well,
of
we're
stores.
not doing that until maybe
Maybe
September.
September.
Somebody.
Flag Day
was
is
it
June
you?
14th, right? Isn't that a holiday on the calendar? June 14th, I think, is Flag Day every year? Or you could do it closer to 4th of July?
Maybe, yeah, I'm not fussy, but you had mentioned, Bill, maybe have it at the time when we have the fireworks. It's kind
Yeah,
of
we
a
talked
big
about the
Community
deal.
block party, yeah.
Community block party, yeah.
So that's
Are
kind
they
of a
doing
big
that
deal.
this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
right,
just, I mean, I
say
think
that.
it's
That's
a
a good
big
idea.
deal. And-
Right.
And because residents have said they felt disappointed when we didn't participate in important events, and this is certainly an important event, and so
I'm fine with that.
would want people to think about that some more. Yeah.
Right. Community block party date,
20th, June 20th.
June 20th.
June 20th, yeah.
Get a flag made by then?
They're already made, I just gotta buy one.
Okay.
That should be easy. Should be easy enough.
Yeah.
It's already, there's a company selling commemorative flags right now.
Are they already
Yeah,
made?
yeah.
You're selling them? Okay.
Is
We'll
it a
get Betsy
special kind of
Ross here.
flag? It's,
I'm sorry?
Yeah,
which one are you?
yeah, 13 stars, 13 stars.
Stars, and it
then
says
with
250th.
76 or
Yeah,
76.
76 in the middle
Yeah.
of it.
Just something that's meaningful. And maybe one of our high school kids would, or a couple of them during the, and this is just an idea, during the time of the block party, maybe a couple of people would want to read portions of the Declaration of Independence to,
Oh, you know how to throw a good time.
and cookies, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, some cookies in there. Cookies and milk.
Anyhow, I just thought I would throw that out there. I think it's important to commemorate it in a
Absolutely.
meaningful way.
Mr. McGrath, anything we should be put on the agenda involving FinCom over the next weeks and months?
No, I'll have 2 new members here in the next month or 2, once I
Good.
connect with the moderator, so
Good.
we'll be back in full strength.
Excellent.
That's good.
Nice.
All right, do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Have to do it.
Thanks, everybody.
Roll call.
Thank you.
Should do a roll